Welcome to SakeBooTV. I'm your SakeBoo, and today I'll be reviewing the Korean drama S-Line. Not to spoil the review, but I had such high hopes for it because of the concept. The concept was so interesting to me, but the ending? I could not have been more disappointed. Or confused. I'll be judging the drama based on characters, acting, plot, storytelling, and rewatchability. Each category will be scored out of 5 points with a final score out of 25. I'm not even gonna act like I won't be biased. I'm going to be a little bit biased, but that's only because Lee Soo-hyuk is in this drama. And that is a fine man. Just fine. I mean, Lord have mercy. There will be plenty of spoilers, so if you haven't watched the drama yet, you have been warned. If you continue to watch, then hopefully you've seen it because there will be minimal context in my review. Let's begin. Now, the plot itself is super interesting. Nearly everyone is connected by these red lines called S-lines. The S stands for, well, the shorter word for intercourse. The kicker is that the only person that can see these lines is main character Shin Hyun-hyuk. She's been able to see these lines since she was born. She wishes she couldn't though because of an unfortunate event in her childhood that causes her to become an orphan and a recluse. She hides away in her apartment afraid of the outside world until these lines pull her back out. She eventually teams up with Detective Han Ji-wook due to a certain case in which she gets involved in. This leads them to get to the bottom of another case involving his niece and these glasses that reveal the S-lines to whoever wears them. Caught my attention immediately. I was always going to tune in when I got the time to. If I talk about the characters and the characters alone, they were okay. Some good, some meh. Really, the only character I would consider bad is the homeroom teacher Lee Yoo-jin. Probably expand more on that in the storytelling section. I wouldn't say there were any great or outstanding characters, unfortunately. There were 2 characters for me that came close to it though. Han Ji-wook did his job and played his role. The second being a more minor character, Kim Mi-sung. Her character went to be complex so bad. And arguably, she was if you were looking close enough. But I think there just wasn't enough time to build her just right. The drama is only 6 episodes, which is so weird to me because I'm used to 12 minimum, so I know the story was definitely crammed together. Again, another point to be made in the storytelling section. The acting was pretty decent if I do say so myself. Of course, Lee Soo-hyuk carried, no surprise there. But the whole cast did pretty damn good considering the material they had. The interactions with most of the characters felt natural for the most part, but there were some sections that felt incredibly scripted.
네 머리
하지마.
Then there was some overacting. I hate that term because what do you mean? It's acting. Usually you go big or go home. But unfortunately, some people were doing too much at some points. Then there were some that hit that sweet spot of how big they went. This was my favorite scene.
아 이거 아니잖아요.
다쳐 진정해.
Like, really, truly, shout out to this guy for playing his role so well. Kim Joo-hyung, I give you your 9s. Should change the title to Swiss cheese with all the holes in the plot. So many things didn't get wrapped, and so much stuff is left up in the air. I'm so tired of the sequel bait endings. I swear, if the show is written properly, it's like salt. You can always add, but you can't take away. If you tie a neat enough bow on the ending, you can always have the option to build on it later. But if you leave it loose, like a shoelace, it becomes a problem. Like, what happened to the bully Hye-hyung? She just poofed. Sure, we can assume that the teacher took her, but did she kill her? Did she take her to the damn S-line purgatory? She's just never seen again. While I'm talking about Lee Yoo-jin, it was so obvious she was behind the nonsense happening. It could have been hidden better. Not too big of a gripe, it is what it is, but not enough mystery for the mystery for me. The real mystery is how her existence even came to be. How and why is Lee Yoo-jin a supernatural cult leader? How did any of this come to be? And how did Shin Hyun-hyuk become involved in any of this? Why was she born with the ability to see the lines? Why do the lines even exist? Like, this is really none of our business. As long as it's consensual, legal, and everyone is safe, I don't need to know this information. You could tell me and I'd act shocked and surprised if it's something juicy behind it, but in this case, the info feels thrust upon me for no reason. And yeah, as the story went, it showed that there's some good that can come from knowing, but other than that, I truly don't need to know. And what other powers did Shin Hyun-hyup get, because she damn sure didn't use them? Changed her eye color and called her the chosen one or whatever. Why was the purification so important? Why did Junsun have to die? Hyun-hyup and Junsun connected their S-line for the very first time, and 20 minutes later, it's the end of him. And it wasn't by Hyun-hyup's hand, so what was the point of this? Then it's the inconsistencies of it all. It went from the cleansing of the S-line's obsession to mental illness to whoever wears the glasses gets mind controlled. Can we pick a theme and stick to it, please? Why does Sona hate her uncle so bad? It showed us 2-3 scenes worth of flashback of him maybe ignoring her, but I feel like him trying to nap and him having lunch with presumably his cow buddies isn't enough for the type of resentment that was shown to me. And what do you mean Sona and Gio just never acknowledged the S-lines ever again? Because I would expect her to absolutely clown him over his cluster, walking around like a balloon salesman. Actually, let me get on Shin Hyun-hyup and Sona for a minute, because this technically goes in the storytelling section. Fight back. Please. Jeva. I'm begging you to take a swing. I had to remember a few times that these are just teenagers and they live in South Korea of all places where bullying is meant to be super serious but admin does less than call. But she's literally getting her ass beat. Take the risk at this point. And you, Shin Hyun-hyup, stab him. Why bring the knife if you're not gonna use it? This is life or death. You're choosing for both of you to die right now. Yes, I know she's traumatized and all, but she knew what it was when she stepped out of her house. Then, the absolutely magical part of the scuffle is after Shin Hyun-hyup gets stabbed by her own knife, the woman that she was trying to protect knocks the assailant over, but instead of grabbing the knife and neutralizing the threat, she goes to Hyun-hyup instead like there's something she could have done. I know, nerves and all that, but come on! Whoever was in charge of them acting like this pissed me off good. I was hot. My blood pressure was elevated. I feel like I can go on and on about all the plot holes and things that pissed me off in this show, but I'll leave it at the ending being a fever dream. Just doing anything and everything. Also, I found out this was meant to be a prequel to the webtoon it's based on, but I'm still mad because without a season 2 continuing the story, the ending is still so dumb. And the pacing was too fast. They really mushed a story into 6 hours of content, which was a terrible mistake. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but they should never do it again. There was so much more that needed to be explained and characters that needed to be built up. I know if they had the usual 12 episodes, it could have been done a lot better. I didn't hate this drama completely though, because up until the last 2 episodes, things were going well. We saw how seeing the lines could be put to use positively or negatively. And the one little shining speck in the ending is that since everyone can see the S-lines now, does it even matter? Well, for a lot of people, yeah, it does. You can't really take that out of society that quick. But for others, it is what it is. Doesn't change daily life that much. Also, there were plenty of funny bits in there that kept me watching. It just leaves you with more questions than answers. I'm never watching this again. You couldn't pay me. Literally, the only way to get me to sit through this train wreck again is to have Mr. Lee Soo-hyuk himself reach out to me and ask me to give it another try, explaining the story to me as we go. Actually, car crash would be a better description, because everything was going pretty okay for most of the program. A few bumps, but still able to follow along, then BAM! The f***ing nonsense ending. I just cannot do this again. And that's so disappointing because the show had so much potential. It could have been way better than what it was. I feel betrayed. Or maybe I just had my expectations too high. Here's the final score. Honestly, that's not horrendous, but I would only recommend this drama on 2 conditions. One, if you're a fan of Lee Soo-hyuk or any of the other cast members, go ahead and watch it just to see them. Or, watch it just so you can see what I saw and tell me I'm not going crazy. This has been SakeBooTV, and this is your SakeBoo signing off. Nanjuge boyo.